Hey everyone, welcome to the Smiling Homeschooler Podcast. We're glad you can join us. As you can see, we have a special guest who we will introduce in just a second. But before we begin, I do want to thank Teaching Textbooks for helping make the Smiling Homeschooler possible. They're an amazing partner of us and of just the homeschool community, and they love helping homeschoolers smile during math time. So if you haven't checked them out, you should over at teachingtextbooks.com. They're just an amazing curriculum. Also, we want to thank Samaritan Ministries and Redeem Health Share, where members are committed to honoring Christ, and they're a community of Christians that pay one another's medical bills, helping families take a safe step of faith as they feel God's leading in career or ministry changes or in bringing mom home. And you can learn more at the show notes or in the Facebook comments about Redeem Health Share by Samaritan Ministries. But Dad, if you're ready to go ahead and get started, let's go.
Hey, everybody, we're going to jump right in because there's a storm brewing where we live. And everybody's nervous, and they've been talking about it all day. So if suddenly we go blank, it was probably because our house was swept away.
Our power went out.
Our power went out. But I'm getting ready for my second convention, homeschool convention of this season. This coming weekend, we're going to be at IAHE, which is the Indiana State Homeschool Convention down in French Lick, Indiana, near the West Baden Hotel, which I think, like at the turn of the century, was like the eighth wonder of the world. It has like the largest iron dome, free-spanning dome ever. So I've never been there, so we're looking forward to it. But that's not the best part of the convention. The best part is what we're going to talk about in just a little bit, because we have a special guest with us who is well aware of homeschool conventions. We have Brandee Gillham from CHEC, which is CHEC, which is and in charge of the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. So Brandee, it is good having you today.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me on. I'm glad to be here with you.
Well, why don't we just start, because everybody likes to know, how'd you start homeschooling? What got you into that? And maybe just a little bit about your family.
Sure. Well, I would say I'm an unlikely candidate. I'm not a second-generation homeschooler, first-generation Christian. So I was doing preschool at home, but I wouldn't have even at that time in my life called it homeschooling. So then it gets kind of sad for a moment, but I was diagnosed with cancer, and we had moved home so that my son could be a fourth generation Pete's bulldog. I mean, even school was like genetically important. But in going through cancer, I finished chemo in August, and he started kindergarten at the local public school. But the Lord kept pressing this on my heart. I didn't realize that Deuteronomy 6:5-7 was like the homeschooling verses. But as I kept reading it, I thought, whoa, how do I teach him diligently? How do I do this when we wake up and when we're walking along the way? So the Lord, in short, called us to homeschooling in Jake's kindergarten year at Pete's. And at that time, we just had two boys. And I am a certified teacher. Well, I let that stuff expire a long time ago. But I actually would say I had to unlearn everything I had been taught on like what it looks like to systematically teach kids in a box in a desk, and so I wouldn't say that helped me at all. I would say that hindered me, if anything. But now I've been homeschooling since like 2013, 2014, maybe that fall. So over a decade now, officially. But the reality was I was doing it beforehand, and I didn't even realize I was doing it beforehand. So yeah.
I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time.
We've heard the teacher thing quite often too. But so
yes.
So I don't know if you were always in Colorado, but so how did you get in? What was your first convention, and what was that experience like? How did that all get started?
So Jake had done that kindergarten year, and we had discussed and prayed about starting homeschooling. So that summer, right after his kindergarten year, we had heard about the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. And I honestly went because it was affordable. Like there was like a first timers discount. I was like,
nice,
okay, if this stinks, it's not going to cost me too much. And do you guys remember, probably not you, Ben, but maybe you, Todd, the old Mervyn's commercials where they're like standing at the door and they're like, open, open, open. Anyhow,
I don't know what a Mervyn's is.
That might be a regional
Mervyn's
thing.
is like
then,
a
maybe.
clothing store
I've
of
never,
like the 80s.
I've never worn a Mervyn's.
No, you can't wear Mervyn's. Mervyn's is a store.
I've never been in a Mervyn's that I know of.
Okay,
But
maybe
I am going to look it
maybe
up after this.
it's like only west part of the United States. I don't
Okay.
know. But anyhow, there was a great commercial like in the 90s. But anyhow, so I kid you guys not. I made my husband get up at like 4 o'clock that morning and we drove and we were the first people in the parking lot. I think I beat like the convention committee. I was so wildly excited. I was that
That's
like
awesome.
type A homeschooling mom. So we went to our first conference in June of I think 2014 was the first one we went to. And ours is in Colorado, the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. It's a 3-day conference at that time. We've since added a bonus day. But yeah, that was the very first one I ever went to.
Yeah, that was at the something mart, wasn't it? Where was that at?
So yeah, that was at the Denver Merchandise Mart, which is
That
now
was near,
bulldozed.
for those who care, that was like real close to the Hammond's Candy Factory, isn't it? Because I remember going there with
Now that I don't
Ben
know.
went there. Yeah.
I didn't remember that being in Colorado, but it probably
Yes,
was.
it
I was
was.
looking to see if I had a patch there for it, but
Well, what
So-
was your takeaway then? I mean, you went. What was it like that first time?
Well, I was honestly pretty nervous. One, in being obedient to what the Lord had called us to do. I mean, I knew I wanted to do that. I knew the Lord had called us to it, but the how. I mean, I really went there trying to figure out, how do I do this? What does this look like? But as far as my biggest takeaway, I would say it was, this is going to be the most important work I will ever do in my entire life, is being obedient to the Lord calling us to disciple our children at home through homeschooling. And that came about through hearing, great speakers and just hearing great encouragement and admonishment there. So, but I knew it was going to be the most important work I would ever do.
Well, you mentioned also that you were, you're type A, that you were there that early. Has your approach to homeschooling, did it change over the years at all? How does that look? Because, we see a lot of people do come in where it is just like I'm going to do it, everything's lined up. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be amazing, and they are amazing, but I just mean they got the plans, So how does that look? And what would you say to the super type A moms, who are maybe getting started out right now?
So for the super type A moms, you're going to need to chill out. Like that's like the basic foundation of it, is that you can really, I think, break your children pretty easily if you stay in that type A mode. Some people really thrive. And if all of your children, if you've all, made it mini type A's, then it might work for you. But the reality of 100% of your children all being clones of you is probably 0% possibility. So, you need to give yourself grace. Recognize that the Lord is going to use it to sanctify you. Like that's the other thing. I got to be really honest. At that first conference, I bought like the character curriculum 101 of like, this is how I'm going to make good little disciples.
Everybody does. Everybody buys that.
You're saying it doesn't just come out of a box? What?
And it wasn't because I thought I was perfect going into it by any means. But I had no idea the work the Lord was going to do in my life, as like the character training he was going to be doing in me throughout this journey. I really wasn't prepared for that. I mean, and I'm grateful for that. So for the type A moms, the beauty of it is that you can titrate homeschooling for each kid individually. And most of like I would have been a beautiful Abeka mom. I would have loved. But I also knew that was not for our family, that very rigid, very clean cut, black and white was not going to work for both of my boys. I needed something different. And that's not to diss any curriculum company. Right. Please know my heart in that. But just that very clear, it wasn't going to fly. So I had to give myself grace to say it's going to look different for each one of my boys.
Sure.
So, maybe you could describe, because we talk about homeschool conferences all the time, usually about this time of year. Maybe you can describe what you're very well acquainted with your conference because you're in charge of it. Yes. I didn't even say that, but she's the head cheese at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. What should somebody expect when they come in?
If you get started, it will become like an addiction to you.
Right.
Be careful.
You
might
may be
actually
running one as well.
Be careful about volunteering. They lure you in. So, sorry, the question is like really how to explain a homeschool conference, like what happens at those, right? Okay. Yeah. So the thing about a homeschool conference is you're going to get to hear outstanding speakers, people like Todd, who are encouraging, funny, biblically grounded,
He's at
and a
least
great
standing.
combination
I don't
of
know about
those.
the outstanding part, but
Oh no, he's pretty outstanding.
and most of them are better than me, but go ahead.
Well, there's different types of speakers. How
That's
about
right.
that?
That's
You
right.
get different types of speakers at a conference. So there really are outstanding workshops. I would say one of the biggest struggles is trying to figure out which workshop to go to during a conference, where they're like, man, there's either 6 or 8, within the same hour block. Which one am I going to go to? So I do recommend, even if you're not a type A, to try to do a little bit of planning before you go to the conference, to say, hey, which ones do I want? Who do I want to spend time hearing? And then no matter what, you're going to change your mind once you get there. You're like, oh, I heard this speaker and they were really good. And then we all become kind of groupies. Like, we're like moving with our speaker. We enjoy
Right.
So I love the outstanding workshops and the outstanding speakers. The other thing is every homeschool conference has normally a phenomenal exhibit hall. And it's so much different, I think, than just going to Amazon or, a different online resource where you can just like click it and buy it. It's so cool to be able to open those up and see it. And then from like a personal side note, like people like you, Todd, who have written books themselves and have it for sale in the exhibit hall, like I love supporting kind of that internal homeschooling community. So to me, that is a really cool way to kind of bless others with that are doing the same thing with us, is you can buy that book from the author right there in the exhibit hall. So I think that has great value. So I love getting my hands on it. And as conferences are growing, like right now, we have a huge children's programming section now and a teen, what we call our life launch area. So there's actually more ways to even plug in your family and your teens if you're looking for that at conferences as well. Like if you just need a break to go hear a speaker, there's ways that, we're trying to bless families that are attending those conferences. The other thing I absolutely love about conferences now, because I went to the first one in 2014 and then I started volunteering by 2016, which maybe wasn't a good idea, but it starts.
You're a type A.
I know. Well, I love volunteering. I love serving. That's my like real issue. But it starts to feel a little bit like a family reunion, with people that you get to see once a year without like the family drama most of the time.
Right.
So that part of it is super fun. I love getting to connect with friends that sometimes just because of where we live, we only see each other once a year at the conference, but that is also really fun. My husband met literally his best friend at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference.
That's cool.
Which
Wow.
the Lord brought our families together. We're kind of a rare breed. We're both ranching families, so it's kind of hard to find other ranching families, but the Lord brought us together at that conference and we have such a sweet relationship.
And
now
that
as a
usually
whole.
just happens because you just happen to be standing next to somebody or sitting next to someone and you got 5 minutes before the thing starts and you're just kind of talking and all of a sudden you see him again. And then you kind of, where you going next, and I see that all the time. I love it when someone comes up to my table and there'll be 2 different people who are obviously not connected. One asks me a question and then we're talking, the other one kind of, and then I walk away and I'm talking to somebody else and I look back and these 2 people are still hanging out together. And I think that is so fun.
Totally. There's just something special about knowing that every other person around you is interested in the same thing, at least this one core facet of life. I mean, I think event like that's focused on a specific area or topic or whatever it may be just builds that, and homeschooling is no different. It's so cool. But real quick here before we continue, we do want to thank Teaching Textbooks for helping make the Smiling Homeschooler possible. And if you go to a convention, they will probably be there. The chances are very high. They are an amazing company. They have an amazing math curriculum. We've used them for decades now at this point and told thousands of other homeschoolers to use them. And I've only ever heard great things. So my daughter loves them. And if you haven't checked them out before and you are wrapping up this year not liking the math curriculum you used, nothing wrong with them. Just it's not everything works for every person. Try Teaching Textbooks over at teachingtextbooks.com. We really appreciate their support.
Hey, and a special thanks also to Redeem Health Share by Samaritan Ministries, which our family loves being members of. It's Christians helping Christians pay for their medical burdens. With March Madness upon us, take it from me that you won't be disappointed to consider this a slam dunk option for healthcare, and your family will feel taken care of. I know ours does. Click on the link in the show notes to learn more about Redeem Health Share by Samaritan Ministries.
Well, real quick, also, we talked about the community and what's amazing about that. But do you think, what about the person who would say, well, I don't think I need to go. I feel like I know what curriculum I'm buying online or whatever it is. What would you say to the person who's maybe not sure and who hasn't tried it yet?
Because that's a pretty big population.
There's a lot of homeschoolers out there.
It shocks me that, somebody will say, oh, we have 20,000 people on our mailing list and 4,500 family units will come. So that means there's a bunch who for some reason think they don't necessarily need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a fair question. We get asked a lot. One of the things that a preconceived notion I had when I first started going to the conference was that it was just about homeschooling. And I think for a lot of people, they're like, well, I've got this figured out. I don't need any help, which I would dare to say, yeah, we all need a little bit more help in that regard. But for us, our conference is divided into like our workshop categories. Only 1/3 of our workshops are about homeschool how-tos. The other part, the other third is family discipleship, and the last third is biblical worldview. So no matter what a family, any family could handle more family discipleship talks and more views, or not different views of biblical worldview, but like hearing encouragement on how to perceive the world from a biblical worldview. So that's one of the things I always want to get out, is that like, it's not just a homeschooling conference. It is really helping family. It's a parenting conference. It's a family discipleship conference. And I think we all need a shot in the arm and encouragement in order to kind of move forward well in that. And again, like the unseen parts of the conference, maybe you don't need it, but could you serve at it? Like, so maybe you've got all of your ducks in a row. Could you be blessing another family while you're there? Is that a possibility? And again, those relationships have such great value. I really think that is, again, a hidden gem of homeschool conferences, is to make new friends while you're there.
I think never underestimate.
Go ahead.
Quick, I just to say, like, never underestimate, I think, the value of you being rejuvenated. Even if you don't necessarily feel it all the time, you may be doing your everyday. I mean, you're just pouring out in your children every single day, and this is a chance, I think, for as a mom or a dad or a couple to just feel energized by the end of a weekend of like, man, we are doing the right thing. We're not alone in this. We're not failing at this. And just that encouragement, I think, is really, really underrated. And people don't necessarily realize how much that might actually impact them to just have an entire weekend focused on that. But Dad, go ahead.
Well, I know, even, and you probably feel this way too, Brandee, once you're working in it, it changes a little bit for you. And I've been doing this, for I think this is our 24th year, but I can remember vividly in those early days, my wife and I going, ours were downtown Indianapolis at the time, and parking your car and then seeing this stream of people, kind of converging on this one center, where they were going to all hear the same things and you thought the same. And that was always so encouraging. And I would encourage, even listeners who maybe have been several times, but you kind of get to a point where you think, oh, I've done that before. I don't really need to go. I would agree with you. I think because the foot says I don't need a conference, does it cease to be part of the body? I think it's good to go. And maybe you don't have to stay the whole time. Maybe you'll end up staying longer. I don't know. But just to be available and to interact and encourage some other mom who thinks she's the first one to ever do this, and wonder if she's going to make it through, because I think every homeschool mom is really a pioneer. Whether they've been homeschooled or not, because it is kind of, you said you had your teacher training, and that didn't prepare you. Being a homeschooled kid doesn't prepare you teaching your own kids. And so everybody's different. And I just think it's
Mhm.
such a beautiful thing. But how about we kind of close out with this? How about, sell us your convention? Because just because you live in Colorado, doesn't mean someone can't come and visit you, because I know it's kind of fun, to go to
Mhm.
different conventions. Maybe you've been to, your state, and I want you to support your state. But sometimes
Yeah.
it's just fun to go on a destination for a vacation. How
Mhm.
can they learn more about the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, and what makes yours so good?
Or maybe this year specifically as well.
Yeah. Well, the easiest way to find out about all of the details related to our conference is to go to RockyMountainHomeschoolConference.com. So it's a long website name with a whole lot of details in it. So, and we've got everything up already: our speakers, our schedule, everything that's going on, all of our children's programming. Registration opened mid-February, so
Mhm.
we are seeing really strong numbers right now. It is June 11th through the 13th of 2026. We have a bonus day on June 10th. Our bonus day is completely free. And we have 3 tracks going within that day. So the first track is like, how do you homeschool? Like, what nuts and bolts of what does the law say? How do you capture homeschool vision? And then actually, my husband, Roy, and I will be doing the actual nuts and bolts, like talking about
Mm.
curriculum, the nitty gritty of homeschooling. And then we have the you can do it track, meaning, and that's where actually Todd's going to be coming in, where these are for, like, I would call the skeptic. So the first track is for people just like, I want to know how to do this. The you can do it is like, I'm not certain if I'm going to do this. You need to
Mm.
convince me to do this. So we're going to talk about socialization and finances and some of those common
Hmm.
kickback questions we get. So that's that track. And then we also have a unique learners track. So those families that are really, struggling with, I want to homeschool, but I've either got like a gifted child or a child that really is struggling. And so we
And
have
is
3
still
workshops
gifted.
and still remarkable and
Yeah,
amazing,
exactly.
but battling dyslexia, and I just don't
Right,
know
right.
how to do this. So that day is free. So we've actually got 9 free workshops on that first day, which is really awesome because Check is a ministry. We want to give back to people in that
Hmm.
way. And then the next 3 days are jam packed with a massive workshop grid. We run about 8 workshops concurrently, plus 2 teen activities or 2 teen based workshops and 2 children's activities within every time slot. We have opening general sessions. So this year, our keynotes are Ken Ham, Rosaria Butterfield, and Rob Reno. So those will be coming in and keynoting for us. We have a mobile Bible museum that's coming in. So it's kind of like, and each thing has like a small ticket fee to it, but you can go in and check out. There's a full size Gutenberg press that will be there,
Mm.
and it's called the Enduring Word Bible Museum. We, because we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, our family fun night is the 1776 experience. So we'll have a play and reenactments. So a really fun family night. That is paired with our mom's night out. Rachel Carmen will be speaking at that. So you can either send dad and all of the children to family fun night or go as a family, but we have mom's night out at that same time. So lots of fun add-ons, and again, just a different experience. We're at the Denver Marriott Tech Center, so it's a really beautiful hotel. We have lodging there on site. Clearly, at the Marriott, people can choose to stay with us, which I do recommend versus like kind of
Oh,
driving in and
yeah.
out of Denver traffic. It's just really relaxing when you can stay on site. So I
Hmm.
do recommend that if people are interested there. So lots of
Mm.
things. I just really recommend you check out our website, RockyMountainHomeschoolConference.com.
And I'm going to make a plug too that, invite your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's tons of fun when the girls go. It is fun. I'm not, but sometimes if you want the most powerful homeschool tip you can get is to get your husband involved.
Amen.
And I can't tell you how many guys have come to my workshops or other workshops, or a conference and said, I wasn't really sure about this homeschooling thing, but I'm on board now. Just
Mm-hmm.
because they rub shoulders with a lot of people or heard some person, remind them of why it's so important. And
Yeah.
so, plus, all you have to do is say, hey, honey, How about we leave the kids behind, or we can bring them, or whatever, and we'll make this a fun weekend. And I don't think there's a husband out there who wouldn't go, hey, yeah, sign me up.
Right.
But I think you might need to invite him. So,
Yeah, I think it adds great value to have dad come along, husband come along. I mean, it did. It revolutionized things for me because as the Lord was calling me to homeschooling, Roy literally said, honey, we moved home to the family ranch because the school is 2 miles away and it's good. And I thought, well, yeah, could we at least like consider this? Could we go and get trained or just like, could we just hear some information about this? And he came a little reluctantly, but within the first day, he was hooked. I mean, it didn't even take like the 3-day conference. He was like, oh, yeah, we're for sure doing this.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, hey, Brandee, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've, ignited the fire in some hearts of some moms listening, because I believe in what you're doing and what really, you have the privilege of meeting really every year with lots of convention organizers, and it's happening all over the country and really in different spots all over the world. So you're a part of something really big, Mom. And have a great weekend. Hopefully, I'm not whisked away to the land of Oz by our weather tonight. But have a great weekend. I hope you're getting some spring weather, and don't forget to smile.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we appreciate you being here. If you are in the Indiana area, or I guess Kentucky, you could stop on by the Indiana Homeschooling Convention. We will be there. Dad and I will also be there. My wife and kids are coming too, so that'll be fun. We're excited. Haven't been to one in a couple of years, so got the opportunity to do that. But also thank you to Teaching Textbooks again for making this all possible. Go support them. Tell them that we sent you, and check them out over at teachingtextbooks.com. And again, thank you to Samaritan Ministries and Redeem Health Share, where members are committed to honoring Christ and serving one another through healthcare needs. As Dad likes to say, we use, love, and recommend Samaritan Ministries. And you can learn more in the show notes about Redeem Health Share by Samaritan Ministries. But all right, everyone have a great week. Don't forget to smile. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Brandee, you did.